Welcome to Pharmacology by Lecturio. I'm Dr. PJ Shukla, and we're going to be talking about drugs and diabetes today. When we talk about drugs and diabetes, let's start off talking about how insulin was discovered. Let's go back to Canada in 1921. There were four important individuals which led to the discovery of insulin. The first was Frederick Banting, who was a physician studying at the University of Western Ontario. The second was a man by the name of James Collip, a brilliant biochemist at the University of Alberta. J.J.R. Macleod was a physiologist who was working at the University of Toronto. And finally, Charles Best, who was a medical student at the University of Toronto. Now, Charles Best lost the lottery in terms of which job and which research project he was going to be working for. When he found out that he was going to be working for Frederick Banting in the summer of 1921, he actually tried to give away his research clerkship to somebody else. That other medical student ended up taking a more popular position, relegating him to the ranks of people we don't know anything about. Charles Best then kind of said, okay, I'll work with this guy. We know that he's kind of mean and mean-spirited, but I'll work with him. Together, they isolated insulin and revolutionized the way we look at diabetes. Prior to 1921, everybody who had diabetes died. These discoveries would not have happened without James Collip, who was the biochemist who actually helped them synthesize and isolate this important chemical, this important hormone. So let's talk about insulin and how it works in the body. In the liver, it increases glycogen synthesis and decreases protein catabolism. Now, it uses a porter called GLUT2 to move sugar into cell membranes. There is increased synthesis using pyruvate kinase, phosphofructokinase, and glucokinase. In the skeletal muscle, insulin increases glycogen synthesis and protein synthesis, and it uses the porter GLUT4 into the cell membranes. And in the adipose tissue, it increases triglyceride storage and decreases protein catabolism. It uses the porter GLUT4 and moves sugar into cell membranes. There is increased synthesis and activity in adipose tissue under the influence of insulin, and we use a hormone called lipoprotein lipase. Now, these are things that I want you to remember because these are things that do get put on exams because insulin is so important. The makers of exams want to make sure that you know the ins and outs of how it works.